Hello, entrepreneurs. Happy Saturday evening. This is Joe DeChara with another amazing episode of what's the name of the show again? The Joe DeChara Show. I'm coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York, Queens, New York. That's right, folks. We used to be the eye of the storm, the, the worst place to be on the planet at one point. But now people are out and about, eating, driving. I actually have to look both ways when I cross the street again, and it's getting less and less like a science fiction movie. So I just thought I'd report into you on that. And tonight, I do not have a PowerPoint. I did not put together a PowerPoint. I figured I was just going to talk and actually talk about stuff that I am doing to help me in my business and my life, because I figure uh, other people told me to do this stuff. And you would think that by now I know to turn off my cell phone before I start doing these. And I actually interviewed a time management coach, and the phone was going off as I was interviewing her, and she wasn't too happy about it. And she suggested, and you can see, I think I cut myself over here, shaving, second time in a row. The other one yesterday was over here. So I think I need a new razor blade or something. But anyway, she wasn't too happy that like I interrupted the flow of the interview. She suggested that I create a checklist. And hey, Eric, how are you? Good evening. Glad you could show up. I've been telling Elizabeth that I need to connect with you and your entourage there. I keep hearing that you're doing great things, so thanks for joining. And if you're new to this show and you haven't seen me, you don't know who I am a serial entrepreneur with a CPA license. I got tired of just doing bookkeeping and accounting and taxes. I mean, I still do that, but it just wasn't enough. So I decided to start a coaching business and just start talking about the different things that I've seen over the years. And I've seen a lot of stuff happen with businesses, with business owners, decisions that they made, the decisions that never panned out, the stories of people with big egos and how those egos basically destroyed their businesses. Because believe it or not, folks, humility is one of those characteristics that Steve Jobs didn't have. But humility is one of those characteristics in most successful people. And what I mean by that is the humility to admit and accept that you don't know everything and that it might be good to listen to other people. And I bring up Steve Jobs because he was one of the most unbelievable entrepreneurs of all time. But he was also a miserable failure in so many of the things that he did with Apple Computer that they lost serious money. I mean, the guy was a visionary, but I think because, and maybe he accomplished the stuff that he did without without the kind of humility that most people need to grow a business. But uh, this has nothing to do with the topic that I want to talk about tonight, which is really the stuff, the exercise that I believe that somebody like Eric Reed practices and teaches, the mind stuff, the connection between you as an individual and your business. Because when you're running a company like Apple Computer, it's no longer like you're not the entire business anymore. It's grown. The business has grown way beyond you. You need shareholders, you need investors, you need locations, you need distribution, you need an advertising campaign. So the things that happen in somebody like Steve Jobs' life does not necessarily have an immediate or any real effect on the company. But when you're running a solo-preneur business, and that's what I like to focus on, when you're running your own job, because that's what most solopreneurs have. They're trying to own businesses, but we really own jobs. And I've owned a job for a long, long time until I realized that. And part of it was the humility, admitting that maybe the stuff, all I had to do was look at the results. I kept hitting that ceiling, like this is as far as I can go. And then every time it was like, that's it. And it's either scale back a little, but there was no going to that next level. And the stuff that I want to show you tonight are those things that they didn't teach me in CPA school. Those little things that have to do with the way I think, the way I take care of myself, the way I treat other people. All of these things have a direct, immediate impact on my business. So, and it's not brain surgery. My girlfriend she reminded me today, you're not healthy. How are you going to run your business? It makes sense, right? If I'm feeling sluggish, if I'm feeling tired, which I had been for probably 6 weeks, I was just dragging, and I told my coach about it. And what the conversation wound up being, even though he's my business coach, it became all about the vitamins I'm supposed to eat, the exercise I'm supposed to be doing, that I just somehow I forgot. All of a sudden, one day, it was no more exercising, no more stretching. The vitamins were optional. And I got off track. And that affected my business. So let me go through some of the things. And this all basically came from my coach, Larry Broughton. So if you're listening, Larry, and I doubt that you are, and I know that you check in on me sometimes, I did ask you for permission to share this stuff. I emailed it to you and you didn't respond. So I'm taking that as a yes, that I can share this. And anyway, so the first thing Larry had me do was fill out this, and this is, I believe, copyrighted, but I just want to tell you what it is. It's a one-page life and business overview. And the stuff that we have in here, a couple of things I'm going to cover. They were basically like online assessments, but he had me put in my vision, my unique selling proposition, my core values, the things that are the most important to me, metrics for my business, traits of my ideal client, my business goals, and basically, like it says, it's my life and my business on one page. And it's great to have this, to look at it and remind myself, but the process of doing it, and that's something that you have to take into account. It's not always the finished product, because to be honest with you, I haven't, and I just realized my headphones are not even plugged in, which means we might get some reverb here. Let me put this back in. Okay. There we go. All right, equipment malfunction, folks. So it does make a difference on the sound, but the process, the work involved, the thought process that I had to go through, and then the tweaks, because I looked, I had my first version, then my second version. I think I went through like 5 or 6 different versions because every time I looked at it, I said, no, this is more important, or this goal is I'm out of my mind. I'll never do, I'm not going to make $20 million this year. So that goal got changed. But the point is that this forced me to look at myself, look at what my goals and objectives were with my business, and to look at the timeline, and for practical purposes, like, am I doing on a regular basis the stuff that's going to lead me to my goals and my objectives? And are those things that I'm doing every day in line with my values, my clients? I just had to lose a new big client because it turns out they didn't really have the traits of my ideal client. They weren't my ideal client. I sort of knew that going in, but again, I have to look at the results. The objective was to establish a long-term relationship, make them part of my team of clients and followers, and it just didn't pan out. But it was just proof that when I look at this is a working live document, and it's a good guidepost for me. So one of the other things, well, 2 things that are on this were very important. Something called a Kolbe index, and I'll tell you the truth. I don't really get, this is very deep for me. Larry explained it, but in a nutshell, it shows you like your what you do, like how you react. Like, in other words, follow through. I have a high score. Quick start is, okay, do I make a decision? Implementer, they just put everything. And with the way that they do this stuff is fascinating, because you're just answering questions like one after another, and they come up with these conclusions that just make sense. It just makes sense, and it explains a lot of things. And the reason why this is important, not the reason, but just another example of somebody else's information that is in line with this. And what this is Brendan Bouchard's high performance habits. And I've talked about this a bunch of times, but he has 6 habits that he identified that high performance people that achieve high performance over a long period of time. One of the things that they have is self-awareness. They know who they are, they know what their strengths are, and they know what they're not. And they just have a really deep understanding of who they are, what they want to accomplish, and that's what these little tools provide. And the other thing, so the Kolbe index on here is part of my one sheet. And to be honest, I got to go back again and refresh my memory on what this is, but it is eye-opening. I'll give you some examples that they have in here. Follow through is, I'm good at creating a plan, coordinating needs, charting graphics, and basically what I talk about almost every night, which is designing those sequences. And that was my highest score. I got 7 out of 10. And there is no fail or pass. It's just to say, oh, this makes sense because this is what I enjoy doing. This is what I'm good at. And it sort of like cements what I've been doing. And now it explains why, because it's part of my makeup. And it's great information. Now, the next thing that Larry had me do was, and I already had this. It was called an entrepreneurial strengths finder. I had purchased this because a mutual friend of ours, Keith Baldwin, was a strengths finders coach, and I had done this test a while ago because if you buy the book, you actually get a coupon to do, and you can see I used the coupon before Larry told me to do it. But the thing is, again, this gives you different insights from a different perspective. And I don't know how they come up with this stuff, but once I saw it, it just made sense as far as what I love doing, why I'm doing it, and so on and so forth. So if you know me, you know that I love participating in things like masterminds and just any kind of brainstorming and networking. And just by the fact that I took the test and my number one strength was connectedness, and it basically spelled out that I have a deep belief that there's no coincidences, that everything's connected, that when you treat somebody uh, badly, it comes back to you. And that's what I believe. So I took this test and it was, yes, that's me. And more important thing, it told me the stuff that I'm not really good at. Not that I'm not good at it, but it's not one of my strengths. And there was some surprising insights and information here. And I actually, so when you take the free version, I think they give you a top 12, and then you can purchase the rest of them. So this is still a work in process. I'm still studying this stuff. It is deep, and it's helpful. And again, it's not always, the end result that you're looking for. It's, you have to be involved in the process. And this is part of what I talk about, being intentional with your business. These weren't just exercises so that I could finish them as a homework assignment for my coach. These were information gathering exercises that I need to use to run my business. And that's what this is all about. Don't just go through the motions, folks. Don't just check off your to-do list. That's not how you succeed in business. Anybody, if you're great at checking off things on your to-do list, well, then you're a great manager. You're a great manager because that's what managers do. But if you want to accomplish things, don't worry about checking those things off the list. What you need to focus on is the big picture. Why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you doing it for? What problem are you solving? And not only that, are you solving those problems? Because you could be out there selling whatever you sell with the intention of solving a problem. But if you don't look at your results, firstly, if you're not looking at your results, how are you going to know what they are? Most solopreneurs just look at their bank account, but that's not always the best indicator. The best indicator for me is to look at the business that I've brought in based on what I planned on bringing in. You know, like I said, I had to fire that one client because and I knew this, they didn't fit with my ideal customer. So the results, basically, I got the results that I got in the past. I took on a client that wasn't in sync with my core values. We butted heads, and now they're former clients. But the new batch of clients that I'm getting, and if you're a new client, you know who I'm talking about. You're the kind of people that I'm getting the results with. And for me, I was in business for a long time, and the only results that I was worried about was my checking account. And it was great for a while. It was great for a while until I realized what I was supposed to be doing, which was helping people, which was serving people. Because believe it or not, folks, you can make a lot of money doing what you love to do. It is possible. And that's what I've been trying to tell people, and not only tell, but show. And I think that I'm being fairly successful because we are getting through to some people. And the last thing that I'd like to share with you here is a spreadsheet. And I don't know if Larry invented this or I don't see any kind of copyright on it, but I'm just going to share it with you, and I will get if I can share it with you, I'm going to get Larry's permission, but I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. If I can figure it. Here it is. Okay, so this is what Larry called the spider graph, and I'm not sure if you could see that. Yes, okay. So the spider graph, what it is you start out we cover, I think there's, okay, physical, financial, professional, that's 3, leisure, mental, spiritual, family, friends. Okay, so I think that's 8. There's 8 areas. And so, like I said, where does physical fit into my bookkeeping business? They didn't teach me this in college. Financial, so I was using this as an example. I'm going to take everything off. But what you do is you go through and you score yourself. So you can be doing this weekly, monthly. It really doesn't matter. It's not like a test that you're going to hand in. It's just, and you can see that I can't really manage this. But this is really cool because what it is, if you're a visual person, it'll give you like a map, and I'm going to show you what the map looks like now. Because when you fill in the numbers, so every week when you fill in your numbers, like the first week or the first month, it's going to be a blue line, and then the second week it'll be a red one. And so let me go through this. I'm going to try to. So we go to, so you see a couple of them I took off, and now we only have the green one. And I'll take some of the green stuff off. And we'll go back to this. So now you see, okay, so now let's go back to the first week. And we'll just fill in a bunch of 10s. Actually, let's fill in a bunch of 1s. And we'll see where we are with this. 2, 1, 2. So you could see some of these things like in professional, do I spend time in masterminds? These are activities that are increasing my, I guess, my life, my business, my cash flow. So anyway, you go through this, and now you could see the blue. If this is where I was starting, I have no life. I don't have a family. I'm not too smart. So you could see that there's a visual here. And then maybe the second week, I start improving. Now, over time, the idea is you're going to get all the different lines and you're going to see, am I improving? Am I going backwards? And again, the process of doing this sort of exercise is really where the value is. So I've done this a couple of times. After, the second month, I did 4 weeks, and the patterns after a while, there's only so much you can improve in one area at a time. But that the graphic that it produces, again, is eye-opening. It helped me. For instance, and I don't mind sharing this, the last part are friends and family. And because of COVID, a lot of the stuff, like, I haven't been connecting with my family. I haven't been talking to friends. Meeting them is forget about. So I started reconnecting with old friends, and it made a difference. It made a difference in how I felt. It's always good to reconnect with people. And practicing this exercise just brought it right to the forefront. Like, this is something that I need to address. The physical part. So what this made me realize was how lax I had become in taking care of myself. So, and you're not seeing it. I thought you were seeing the spreadsheet as I was going down. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. My name is Joe DeCharis, CPA. I want to thank Eric and Elizabeth for showing up and participating there. If you watch the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you have any questions, you want to reach out to me on any of these topics, if they resonate with you, if you want to learn more about, how it helped me and how it might be able to help you, you can, now I get to play with my banners. You can go to timewithjoe.com. And I want to remind everybody about Bedrock University. So if you go to Bedrock University, we got right now, I think 8 or 10 courses by world-class people, and registration's free. Right now, the courses should all be free. I got to check if they're still up there free, but you can register at the university for free. And if you're interested in becoming a professor, a Bedrock University professor, connect with me by going to Time with Joe. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow on Sunday.